Eliza is here to solve all of our problems. And if she can't solve our problems, she will ask us some vague questions and then go tell us to go talk to our actual psychologist and get prescribed a specific drug. And then everything will be okay. And then come back in 2 weeks. Is kind of how this went. I'm going to continue. I think we finished chapters 1 and 2. We're going on to chapter 3. We have a meeting with the CEO of the company. I guess that's what's happening now. Last time we were talking with the former head developer, I think, of Eliza. I forget if they said if he was the former CEO, but he's starting a new company now to access dreams directly. And the person we're seeing now, Reiner, is the current CEO. We also saw little Sappho performing in the club. Looks like it is time to get meetinged.
Evelyn?
Nice building.
Oh, thank you. I designed it myself.
Wow, he can do everything. He even was the architect for the building. Not many CEOs do that.
It's funny, I almost didn't notice that you were already back working for Skanda.
Oh, he knows. We didn't tell him that we were a representative working for Skanda, talking with the clients.
You might have stayed undetected, but I was looking at some of our statistical outliers earlier this morning.
As you do.
Statistical outlier. That's me.
Ideally, Eliza proxies would all perform the same, or at least quite similar to each other. In practice, there are some pretty big differences.
Proxies, that's the name of the person who talks in the place of Eliza. You remember how it works, that we have to read the script that Eliza gives us, and we're doing it because people don't like talking to a computer. They want to talk to a human being, so we're a human being who's reading the script.
Some people respond better to advice provided to them by people they perceive as having more authority.
Do we have more authority?
A deeper voice, a taller stature, a certain grace or beauty.
Well, let me know if we have any of those.
Other proxies may be particularly empathetic. A face or a voice that makes you want to open up.
Well, do we have one of those?
There was one proxy whose sessions seemed particularly effective, so I decided to take a closer look.
Well, you talking about me? Because if that was effective, I hate to see what these other sessions look like.
Evelyn Ishino Aubrey, contract proxy, Queen Anne office.
Is that the first time we've gotten our full name? I think so.
That's a fun trick, to come back to your old company in secret. It's a rather dramatic drop in pay, isn't it? More than an order of magnitude.
Right. So, from what we've read, it seems that Evelyn was one of the designers of Eliza, so she used to be pretty high up.
I don't care about that.
But then why would you do it?
It's for research.
Research? So you're still interested in what you created? Let me get to the point. Why aren't you back here, working on the Eliza program?
Why isn't any of the old team back?
Good question. Let's see. Damien Seabrook. There's no helping that.
Right, so we read that there was some sort of tragedy involving Damien.
Shame, though, for such a brilliant career to be cut so short.
We don't know what the tragedy is.
Soren Lloyd Rose, the former program manager, resigned just last week to found his own startup. Very cute.
Right, he was the guy who was hitting on the young girls and went to the club with us, and he thought it was an S&M club, and he's also creating a technology to directly access the brain to influence dreams, which sounds very safe.
I'm not a psychoanalyst like he is, but I can tell his need to be a maverick, even as he benefits from the system, has been the primary destructive force in his life. He can be smart when he wants to, but just as often he gets the wrong ideas and refuses to let them go. His ego gets in the way. That's why I don't mind him leaving to pursue his little dream of being an entrepreneur, changing the world. He won't succeed, but I'm happy to let him think he has independence for now.
Little does he know he's working for me the whole time, serving my ends. But he can hold on to his freedom for now.
If his direct nerve stimulation technology ends up taking off, I can always pull the cord and yank him back.
See, he's the puppet master, pulling all the cords.
Nora Plavnicki, senior engineer. She handled a lot of the front-end interface for Eliza, which is important, but less what I'm after.
Right, Nora is Lil Sappho.
Plus, I doubt she's ideologically compatible with us anymore.
No, it doesn't seem so.
You've spoken with her. You know how she is now.
Yeah, we sure have.
Seems to me she wants to rebel against everything and anything without stopping to consider whether it's truly good or bad.
But maybe both good and bad are both bad things.
Not that it matters. I hope she's having fun playing with her electronic music toys.
I mean, it seems like she's been the most fun one here so far.
I know she would consider her work to be art, but, well, who am I to judge?
I've never appreciated that electronic music. I hope you could tell I was putting quotes around the word music there.
And then there's you, Evelyn. You simply dropped away. Gone for 3 years.
You know, it actually turns out this is a really good place to come back to the game, considering he is summarizing all this for us.
Why?
People keep asking me that.
Well, we do know that we needed some time to ourselves.
I needed some time to myself.
Burnout isn't uncommon in our line of work. And still, 3 years is...
It could be longer. It could be forever.
It could be longer. It could be forever.
Well, that's a shame, though, isn't it? All that lost productivity. Who knows where we'd be if you'd stayed this whole time?
Eliza might be... Who knows what kind of drugs Eliza might be able to, well, not prescribe, but suggest. She can't legally prescribe anything yet.
You left before we began deploying, but you should know the analysts were very skeptical of us. They were saying there was nothing special about Eliza, that our competitors already had equivalent or better offerings.
I mean, it couldn't be much worse, could it?
It's a good thing I don't listen to analysts. So far, the program's growth has exceeded every one of our targets, and we've outpaced the competition by a comfortably wide margin.
What are these targets? I'm still... I think, like, the thing that I'm being kind of lost on is Eliza seems incredibly ineffective.
We're a category definer. There's a quality to Eliza that makes it superior to all the other attempts to do something similar.
Well, let me know what that quality is. Please tell me.
You were part of the original team. Why don't you tell me what that quality is?
Oh, I have to tell him what the quality is. Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I wouldn't know.
Well, let me return to my earlier question then. Why aren't you here to continue your work? You could be running the entire Eliza division if you wanted, but instead you came back undercover like a criminal returning to the scene of a crime. Is there something wrong with this company? You don't like us anymore? It's not me, is it?
Let's see. We don't have a lot of information as to why we left. It seems like it has something to do with Damien. But overall, Evelyn clearly does not like the culture of Skanda. We could say that maybe it's part of it.
Maybe that's part of it.
You know what outstanding engineers have that mediocre ones don't? It's curiosity. Mediocre engineers tend to zero in on a single piece of the puzzle. They pursue technical breakthroughs, but ignore the larger picture. But you wanted to know how Eliza turned out, how it was working, didn't you? Even though you might have thought you wanted to put all of this behind you, you were still curious. You want to know everything, not just how it works or if it works, but its effect on people, on society. You have that instinct. The need to understand something complex from as many angles as possible. So please, do that. Learn what you came back here to learn. And once you have what you came for, consider returning to your old employer. You can make a real difference this time.
Yeah, considering the different angles we've been seeing so far, I don't know if we would actually return back to Skanda. I mean, in our old job. It doesn't seem like Evelyn is interested in her old job.
I really doubt I'll do that, Rainer.
Well, don't worry about making a decision now. One more thing. You should go down and see Eliza for yourself. Sarah will show you the way. This will get you through the doors. I've instructed the staff to treat you like an employee. Come and go as you like. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how much your creation has grown.
Physically, it's like it takes up like the entire basement. We don't know how it works, how it's growing, but it can only mean good things. Okay, we have our old employee ID back. I guess he was just holding on to it, believing that someday he could give it back to us. We got stuff. Let's see. Nora says, "Guh." Morning, Rockstar. I'm glad I went to the show. But it was kind of weird. That didn't seem like Soren's scene either. Maybe he was thinking that he can impress Nora. I mean, it does. Those things are not contradictory. He could He could be that she's a really good programmer. He could also be a creep. Could be both things. Let's say that you're a good programmer. He might actually want the technical contribution. He did ask us to join his startup, yeah. Also, our old CEO. Sure does. I mean, apparently we're a very good engineer, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we'd be good at running a company. We're not really a business person. Think about it. Consultants can make some good money. Of course we will. I got some things to look at. Pencils and paper. Some tech executives avoid using tablets and smartphones. Don't want to be surveyed. Want to keep their secrets on paper. This is fresh. Must be someone's full-time job to take care of the water. Or is there no chance of that happening, especially after what happened to Damien 3 years ago? Let's take a look at our phone. We got this. I got a new thing on this. What does a fulfilled life look like? What does it? Do you have an answer? I would like to know. I don't think it's going to tell us though. Also, there's this cookies from Ray. Cookies in the kitchen. Yay! Some of you already found them. There's banana bread too. What should Ray make next? Well, that's our meeting with Raynor. I guess we have some things to think about. Oh, that's right. We are going down into the underground to meet Eliza in her current form. Eliza's mainframe takes up 50 square miles. Endless pipes just on every surface going through all these caves carved out into the earth. The pipes transferring, of course, ice-cold water to cool down Eliza's circuits. I mean, it could be just a server farm. It could just be that. I like my idea more, though.
Eliza. Not the name I would have given you, if it were up to me.
What name would we have given our giant computer that was made for counseling? I wonder if we'll find out.
It was a marketing decision.
Hi, Erland.
They thought there might be some recognition or resonance with the old version.
Oh, you startled me.
Oh, you startled me a bit.
Oh, I should have introduced myself. Sorry about that. I'm Erland, currently the chief engineer here, but that's probably going to be temporary.
I'm bad at my job, you see. He looks like a baby. I could just pick him up and burp him.
I know who you are, of course. It's an honor to finally meet you, miss. As someone who works with this program every day, I've often felt close to the minds who originally designed it. So to be able to talk to you now, just as another person, it's an honor. Sorry, I already said that. I'm maybe a little overwhelmed.
It's like meeting a celebrity. Meeting the person who programmed the computer that I work on every day. There's no need to, flatter me or anything about it. We're just normal people here.
No need to flatter me about it. Honestly, I don't know if Eliza reflects me at all anymore. I mean, look at all this. There's been a ton of development since I left. I doubt I would even recognize it as something I once worked on.
I'm not so sure about that. Most of the work we've done has been in the form of layers on top of the original system.
Oh, you mean my terrible Band-Aid code is still at the bottom of all this, waiting to collapse one day?
The core modules are more or less the same as they've always been. Raina reminded me that you're still subject to our non-disclosure agreements, so let me share a little secret. None of us really has a great understanding of what's going on in there.
Yeah, it's weird. All of us are expert computer engineers, but we can't figure out how this works.
I'm the third chief engineer Eliza's had in the 3 years since you left.
The previous two they've been committed. I don't know why that's happened. Something to do with spending all their time working on Eliza, apparently.
That's quite a lot of turnover.
Yeah, even for this industry. The way Rainer works is, he gives you 2 chances to do what you tell him you're going to do. After that...
There is no third chance. I know.
We get these people in who say understanding Eliza will be easy because they're familiar with the type of program it is. And Eliza defeats them in the end.
Defeated by the machine. It's not the type of program they think it is.
It's not the type of program they think it is.
Yeah. On that note, I do have some questions I'd like to ask you, if you have the time.
I'm not sure I'll be able to help.
Well, your deciding to work as a proxy has turned out to be an interesting test case. As I'm sure you know, different proxies lead to slightly different client outcomes, even when we control for other variables.
Yeah, Rainer mentioned that. Why would that be the case?
We're studying these specific traits that lead to the best results. Vocal qualities, proxy attitude and affect, responsiveness to the client, that sort of thing.
And then we can have Eliza replicate those things, eliminating the need for human intervention at all.
One thing that's strange is that when you specifically serve as the proxy, clients report higher levels of satisfaction, pretty much across the board.
Oof, that's sad, Erland. I mean, I wouldn't exactly say that that my results have been stellar here.
Really? The ratings I get don't seem that abnormal to me.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's because we normalize them per proxy, so nobody feels too bad.
Oh, okay. So, like, some people, they're the real ratings somewhere in the database. We don't see those. Those are not surfaced.
Just a little user experience trick.
Oh, I see.
Comparatively, though, you're basically the best proxy we've ever had. Any theories on why that might be the case?
Erland, did you see that first guy I talked to, Darren? who like he was just completely unsatisfied and left angry and maybe violent. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same things that I was seeing. And what about that one guy who admitted that he didn't want his wife to have a child, and then we just like recommended him like some VR breathing exercises? It's possible Eliza and I think along similar lines.
It's possible Eliza and I think along similar lines.
I've considered that. At some level, perhaps unconsciously, your design for Eliza's reasoning was based on your own internal way of reasoning. We all put something of ourselves into what we make. No matter how neutral we try to be, it sneaks in. That could account for your unusual compatibility with each other.
Maybe. I certainly wasn't thinking of that when I designed it. I don't know if I like knowing this.
I'm certainly not blaming you for anything. It's just that true universality is one of our future development goals.
Right, it shouldn't matter who the patient is talking to, they should get the same results.
It might be a problem if Eliza tends to like certain people more than others.
And Eliza likes you a lot.
Our aim is to provide quality care for everyone, regardless of any differentiating factors.
Maybe that's just not possible, Erland.
Maybe that's not possible. Maybe there isn't a single counseling style that's best for everyone.
Well, hopefully it's just a matter of uncovering the system's biases and correcting them. We'll keep tuning things as we go, and eventually we'll have something universal, maybe with some dynamic layers on top.
Or maybe what we actually have to tune are the people, the general public. Maybe they need to be tuned. Maybe it's not Eliza's fault. Maybe it's their fault.
That's the plan anyway. We'll see how it goes. There are more questions I want to ask about the initial research you were doing at the time Eliza was first created, but I'll save them for later. And I'd like to ask some questions about Damien too.
Everyone would like to ask some questions about the Damien incident.
If you're okay with that, I'll understand if that's a sensitive topic.
Erland, I'm going to be square with you. The reason that you don't understand how Eliza works is because Damien's brain is at the center of it. I can show you where it is, but that's like what everything's hooked up to. That's why no one can actually understand how the computer works. I had to do some things, Erland. I had a really difficult assignment, difficult goal to reach. Had to do what I had to do to get there. Yeah, let's talk about Damien.
It's okay.
Okay, great. I need to run to a meeting now with the team in Romania, but I really appreciate you taking the time.
The team in Romania?
Yeah. They handle most of the progression and reward system.
All right, we do get our little achievements after each of the sessions is over.
Isn't there a big time difference from here?
There is. Sometimes they stay up late to meet with us, and sometimes we get up early to meet with them.
It's the kind of job that you affect your sleep schedule for.
There are teams in Munich and Hyderabad, too. As you can imagine, coordinating development is a challenge sometimes.
Well, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Thanks. I'll need it. I'll contact you later with additional questions, but no rush or anything. Thank you, Evelyn. If you don't mind me calling you by your first name.
I mean, what else are you gonna call me?
Yes, it's fine.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. I'll be in touch.
All right, let's check some things out. Like, what's this little laptop over here? Right. What's with all the servers if the program really hasn't changed much? It's a pretty good motto, though. It's pretty techy. Don't see any other dots on here. I think that's the only things we can click on. All right, so we've met the physical form of Eliza. Just lots of server racks, which I guess what else was it going to be? I mean, we clearly don't want to come back to this. And of course, Ray would not know who we are. I mean, Ray's our boss, but she doesn't know that we were one of the developers.
Hey, you're not in trouble or anything, are you?
I'm always in trouble, Ray.
I just saw you being whisked away in a Skanda car toward headquarters. They didn't give me any details, which is kind of unusual.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to have the talk.
Yeah, about that. So I have something to tell you. I used to work here. I mean, at Skanda, as an engineer. I used to work on Eliza. I'm sorry for not saying it earlier, but...
I mean, let's not say research, because, you know, we're doing the job. We don't want to say, like, the job is just, like, some tests that we're doing. Let's just say we didn't want special treatment.
I didn't want special treatment.
Oh, so that's why...
Why what?
I suspected something was going on with you, but I couldn't tell exactly what it was. I thought I might have seen a name like yours in our internal documentation at one point, but I didn't want to pry. If you've fallen on hard times, I understand. There's no shame in it. Everyone has to make ends meet now and then. We get plenty of people who come to Eliza proxy work because they're trying to get back on their feet after some kind of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't worked in 3 years, and getting a little skint.
That's not so far off, yeah.
I understand. Your secret's safe with me.
Should it be a secret?
Shouldn't it be? The other proxies here might think you had an ulterior motive for being here, spying on them or something.
Yeah, we don't want anyone to think that.
That's definitely not why I'm here. Also, I left Skanda quite a while ago.
I know that, but they might still get the idea.
Also, it would be weird if they knew, because then they know that when Eliza is telling them things, that's like the electronic us. Like, that's the electronic version of me. Like, I'm the human version of that. And it's a weird dichotomy. We don't need to get into it.
Trust me, it's better not to give the other proxies here any reason to be suspicious.
They're suspicious of what? There's no, like, person strapped in the depths of Eliza's servers. There's no one's brain hooked up to that's suspicious of what?
I'm sure your real reasons are good ones, whatever they might be.
They don't involve brains or anything.
If there's anything I can do to help, you'll let me know, won't you?
Yeah, I will.
I mean, I get it. I know someone who's an engineer for a food delivery app, and he drives for it sometimes too. You want to see through the eyes of your users, don't you? It's amazing what you can catch by doing that.
It's something like that.
Actually using the program. It's amazing what you would find out if you actually use the thing.
But like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to work on the Eliza program again.
Wait, no? But that's your career.
Was my career. Until the Damien incident. It was 3 years ago.
It was. I'm not even sure if I have a career anymore.
Oh, hang on, I just thought of something. That means you worked with Raynor, right?
A little bit. For most of the time I was at Skanda, he wasn't anyone I spoke to, though. Too high up the chain, doing his executive stuff.
You know, whatever it is those executives do.
He got more involved when we were starting to commercialize the technology, but I left not long after that. So we only overlapped for a short time.
But that's so cool, though. I can't believe you actually worked with Raynor Sai.
Yeah, I mean, by work, do you mean he just sort of stood there and talked about how he pulls all the strings and, you know, is that kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I did. I'm not sure it's that impressive.
I've worked for this company for 3 years. Do you think he knows my name?
I mean, his assistant probably does. The assistant seems pretty on the ball.
Do you think he's aware I exist?
Well.
I worked on the very first Eliza deployment and managed 3 counseling centers today, and I'll bet you anything he has no idea who I am.
Maybe he does. You never know.
Evelyn, most people who work for big companies don't interact with the people at the top, ever. Allow yourself some pride.
All right, I'll try.
I'll try.
Seriously, I think that's amazing. At least I'll always think you're cool.
Thanks.
By the way, what are you up to tonight?
Not much. Why? Are you asking me out?
Want to come over and help me bake cookies?
You are asking me out. I wonder how much this might change something, because do we actually have the choice of going over or not? How about I let the chat handle that one? Chat 1 for oh sure and 2 for maybe. So I don't see what the chat thinks about that. There's also the question of, would this be appropriate? I mean, Ray is our boss right now. Does seem like number 1 is in the lead. Does not seem like number 2 is gonna pull back up. I think number 1 is taking that, so we're gonna go with that. Go with oh sure.
Oh, sure.
Awesome. We'll have a little baking party.
I mean, yeah. What are we baking? We gonna get baked? Is that what this is like? Euphemisms here?
Now I can't wait to get in the kitchen tonight.
I think I'm hearing euphemisms.
There's nothing like the smell of fresh baked treats.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And she was pretty happy about this. Like, she was psyched about the whole thing. What we got? Oh, this is from Erland. Erland is a fan of ours. He's been reading our papers since he was a student. Eliza was named after an old computer program that pretended to be a therapist, but it wasn't called that initially. Oh, what the... Did we have a name when we were working on it? It wasn't a set thing. Erland is really enthusiastic about meeting us. Each of us had a different sort of name that we used for it. Soren called it the Digital Therapy Project. I imagine he just sort of sat there with his hands steepled in front of his face and lights shining off of his glasses so you couldn't see his eyes when he would call it this. We often refer to things by their components. The language processing unit, the emotional reasoning engine, the brain interface. Don't ask why it's called that. The blood tubes. I mean, should probably explain about the blood tubes. I did have my own name for it. I called it the Listener. That's what it's meant to do. Listen to people. You can't just know about the technical stuff. You have to know about the humanity wrapped around Eliza. I understand the programmer, then I understand the program. Sure, I get it. He has to understand us if he hopes to be able to understand the just labyrinthine code at the bottom of the whole thing. No one can understand it without going mad. Chief engineer for Eliza, huh? Wonder how long he'll last. I like how mysterious they make Eliza sound. No one can understand how it works or what it is. Check out the phone. Ray talking about an article. Oh, the journalist, I guess, was here. The article came out. Let's see. Northwest Voices. The local spark inside the latest tech revolution. Ray Bakari smiles as she recounts the litany of jobs she's worked over the course of her life. Line cook, truck driver, substitute teacher, theater manager, even a stint as a chicken coop builder over one summer. This might sound weird, but I truly believe all those jobs contributed in some way towards preparing me for what I'm doing now, she says. What's Bakari doing now? Playing a key role on Eliza, the AI-based counseling service and one of Skanda's major new strategic priorities as the tech giant takes on mental wellness. As the manager for 3 of Skanda's Seattle area Eliza counseling locations, including the flagship location in Queen Anne, Bakari is at the center of this rapidly growing business. Most of this initial beta version trials were conducted here, she says as she walks me through the office. Engineers are always stopping by from headquarters to shadow our proxies to see the product in use. Sometimes they'll test out new features here before rolling them out for everyone. Eliza was originally developed as a skunkworks project inside Skanda by a small team of idealistic engineers. But once Skanda's CEO Rainer Tsai decided to make it a full product and the cornerstone of the company's mental health offerings, the number of people working on the project exploded in size. That's where Bakari and her experience came in. Now, I remember telling them, I may not have been a computer science degree like some of you, but I've been handling shit and getting it done in so many situations by now. I'm sure I can get your shit done too, she says, laughing. In an industry that tends to lionize the archetype of the lone genius programmer, appreciation for roles like Bakari's can be more muted. Every high-flying tech company has these unsung but totally crucial operational staff who work behind the scenes, says Ed Park, Skanda's service director for the Eliza program. Now, you won't recognize him in the media. I'll see him speaking at the big conferences, but the industry couldn't function without him. Bakari says recognition isn't what she's after. I mean, I don't know if that's true. She did seem a little bit jealous that Rainer knew us and not her. What's far more important to her is feeling like she is making a difference. Now, people don't seek out counseling for lots of reasons. It's too embarrassing, too expensive. May not even be available in their area. Eliza is an opportunity to address those barriers, a chance for everyone to get some form of help. As we come to the end of the tour, Bakari shares a personal story. My brother has had some struggles, off and on, all through his life. He's wrestled with substance abuse and other problems. I worry about him. But even though he says he's interested in getting help, he always backs away at the last moment. In our family, we kept things bottled up. We never acknowledged our problems. There's this sense of strong people could just power through whatever issues they had, she recalls. I think that attitude is part of why he's so stubborn. If he had been able to open up and talk to me, talk to our parents and staying silent, I think things could have been different. So that's why I want to do this. I want to tell your readers, there's someone out there having a tough time. Don't know who to talk to. Please try Eliza. It just sits there, listens to you. Unlike your friends or relatives, it will never respond to you by bringing up its own problems or berating you or tearing God in half. It just listens. And that's the article. Well, Ray got some recognition in the article. Let's continue on. Time for a sesh. Look at this guy. It's Mark. Mark seems standoffish. Just sitting there, stern expression on his face, arms crossed in front of him. I've seen Mark before. He's not someone who's here to listen.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah, hello.
How are you today?
Let's just get this over with.
All right. I mean, why are you here? Did someone make you come here, Mark?
Okay. What brings you here today?
Human resources.
Someone did make you come here, Mark. What did you do?
The HR department brings me here today.
Why do you say the HR department brings you here today?
Because they're making me do this. Because apparently I have anger management issues.
There we go. There it is.
I sense that you're upset about this. Please tell me more.
Well, I'll tell you more. This is ridiculous. I was here before any of them.
The music begins.
I was here since the beginning, okay? I mean, look at my badge. Skanda employee number 617. That's a 3-digit number. I've been here for more than 25 years.
That's a long time, Mark.
Yeah, that was back when what you communicated was more important than your specific communication style. Before hurting a kid's feelings became a bigger no-no than running a viable business. Back then, we had a single office building. Just one. At that size, you fail a product launch, there's no more company. We all had to put in 150, 200, 300% to keep our shit together. We were in the trenches, man. Bullets whizzing by overhead, artillery exploding everywhere, no fucking air support. Did it suck? Yeah, it did. But you know what? We shipped some great fucking products. We built this company into what it is today. And invented technology the whole world uses now. Governments, multinationals, everyone. But now we're big and slow, complacent, resting on our laurels while our competitors run circles around us. If our new hires don't understand the urgency of that, I need to make them understand, okay? We're history unless we get that drive back.
I mean, I think that he already told us why he feels that he needs to do that.
Why do you need to make them understand?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but young people are really pissy and entitled these days.
Tell me about the millennials, Mark.
We recruit from top 20 computer science programs. These kids have been wined and dined all through their higher education. Every one of our competitors wants to hire them, so they get used to that. Now they all want to know what Skanda can do for them, not the other way around.
It's like they're thinking of themselves first instead of the goddamn company.
Why would we want these conceited, over-celebrated whelps on our team? I'll never understand the logic there.
They don't know what it means to get down in the shit, man. And get the products out even though they're being shot at.
Now, Mark, you have to be nice to the new hires or they won't like it here. Okay, so what, I'm just supposed to pretend everyone's work is great, even if it's a pile of stinking garbage? I'm sorry, but if I see shit, I'm gonna say that is shit. Tiptoeing around everyone's feelings all the time. That's how you end up with shitty products. That's how this company winds up dead, okay? We're fighting for our lives every day here. We can't take anything for granted. Someone needs to tell them that this isn't summer camp. This isn't fucking Coachella. Either you do the work and provide something of value to this company, or you get the hell out of here. Those are my rules.
All right, let's ask Mark something.
Here's a question, Mark. If you were able to have something you wanted right now, what would you choose?
I would choose to not waste my time here and get back to work. Believe it or not, I have important things to do. You know, things that dramatically affect this company's bottom line. Instead, I'm stuck here talking to this dipshit chatbot. Honestly, I don't even know why this division exists. I mean, what's the end game here? This company has lost its mind, you know that?
I guess Mark doesn't work under the Eliza project. I'm not sure what else Skanda does, but apparently he's on something else.
We used to be unstoppable, man. We used to build real software. Ironclad software. Swift mail. All your corporate communications, put it all in there. It's fast, it's robust, it works. Boom. Info vault. Index and search all your records. Any information you want. Easy. Done. But this fucking psychotherapy app thing. What's the fucking point? What does it actually do for anybody?
Mark, don't ask Eliza to examine her own existence.
I've heard through the grapevine that results are inconclusive so far. You know what they call a remedy that maybe doesn't work? Snake oil. Believe me, if I was the group program manager here, I would have killed it years ago.
Don't tell Eliza you would have killed her years ago, Mark.
Pointless. I mean, I have no fucking idea why it survived. Well, yeah, maybe I do. I heard a rumor that Raynor liked this chick on the team. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the level of decision-making we've sunk to here. But Mark, we're so successful. We dominate the market. Yeah, we do. And that's exactly why we should be worried. Just when you think you've won, and you start to relax, that's when the wolves come and tear you limb from limb. You can make me take these fucking anger management classes, but that's not gonna save this company. Costs are up, revenue is flat. Our cloud business is losing competitiveness. We're being outwitted, outplayed, on every level, man. And we're just letting them do it to us. We're too busy wasting time on shit like how I wasn't nice enough to the new hires.
Why do you think the new hires felt this way about you? Because he probably calls their work garbage, I would imagine, Eliza.
Why do you think the new hires felt this way about you?
What? Why do they feel that way? Look, they get heated. That's the way it is. You think the Allies had time to make sure every soldier's feelings weren't hurt before they stormed the beaches at Normandy?
Well, no, they didn't have time to make sure every soldier, I mean, most of them, I assume.
And shit, don't tell me that this is not a war, because that's exactly what this is.
I mean, you've used the war metaphors. You've also used the one about being torn apart by wolves. So have a war metaphor and also the wild animal metaphor, the survival of the fittest thing. You got a couple of metaphors going on there.
My responsibility is to make sure we get great products out the door, on spec, on time. And I happen to be very good at that. But if you want to start interfering with my ability to do my job, then we're going to have a problem, okay?
What do you think would make things better for you?
I mean, you know what? Nothing. I'm probably going to hang it up pretty soon anyway. Go ahead, record that with all your cameras and shit. I don't care anymore. Wouldn't be surprised if Raynor's watching me right now. Raynor, you son of a bitch. You owe me a lot. Me, guys like me, we built this company while you sat up there in your star chamber, drinking tea and lording it over us.
I can believe that Raynor was drinking tea and lording it up. I can believe that.
Yeah, I don't remember that blank look you gave me at the holiday party. Like, who is this guy? Does he even matter? What does he do? Too busy appreciating ancient pottery to remember one of your oldest and most loyal battalion commanders? One of the humble, everyday guys who made you a fucking billionaire. What a waste of time. So, are we gonna wrap this up?
I've got this wonderful VR program that has some breathing exercises. I want you to try it in the mornings.
Mark, I'm going to suggest you try a program called Lakeside Fishing.
I programmed Lakeside Fishing, man.
It may help you take your mind off things.
What, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not gonna do that. I gotta get back to work.
You can find it inside the Skanda Wellness app on your phone.
Someone around here at some point needs to do some fucking work.
Try it for about 15 minutes each day, in the morning or evening. We hope to see you back soon, Mark.
You really think this piece of shit's gonna be the next big thing, huh?
Thank you for speaking with Eliza, your personal counseling partner. Goodbye.
Yeah, okay, goodbye. Fuck me.
Great. Did he give me a tip? What, weird. I got no rating, no tip. That's weird. Why? I thought that went so well. Poor Mark. He's someone who the company culture has left by. He was someone who was indispensable during the early days, but time goes on, times change, and you got to change with those times, and Mark just hasn't done that. Mark's just a relic of an older time. He's not needed anymore, apparently. And I guess Mark just is starting to learn that. Starting to learn that now. He is right that Eliza is a remarkably bad program. I don't understand why all of these servers are needed for this. He is right about that. All right, let's examine the chair. Oh, we used to work here, and we didn't recognize him. Well, yeah, he made, what is it, Swiftmail? He made InfoVault? He made, like, all those old programs that put Skanda on the goddamn map, man! These kids don't know nothing about what we made. I'm glad I never had to work with him. What about the lamp? I mean, yeah, soft light is nice. Okay. Well, that was quite an intense session. And one that Eliza was completely unequipped to handle. Well, I think that we'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back in a few minutes as we continue on our wonderful job of reciting what Eliza tells us to say. Back in a few minutes. All right, we're continuing on. We were completely unable to help Mark. Eliza could not even begin to comprehend how to help Mark. Nothing we could do with that. HR sending Mark to Eliza was a bad idea. That's really HR's fault. All right. How are you doing? Harmon Gunawan. Well, at least she doesn't look mad.
Hello, Harmon. You found the place okay?
Yeah, no trouble at all.
It's been nice since the fog cleared this morning, hasn't it?
Sure. We can dispense with the chit-chat. I'm ready to begin.
I mean, the whole thing is the whole thing is chit-chat, is the thing.
Okay. What brings you here today?
First, let me note that I'm a graduate student at the University of Washington.
Very impressive, Harmon.
I'm a PhD candidate in literature, English literature.
Very impressive.
The crux of the matter I've come here to discuss is that I've been having something of a difficult time with one of the other students currently in the program.
Oh man, Eliza is not going to know how to handle this.
Before I get to the specifics, let me just first establish something that might be relevant. One thing I know about myself is that I've always had a certain fear of being left out.
I mean, it says listening, but Eliza is not going to understand any of this.
It's a very general feeling, and one that's difficult to ascribe to any specific cause in my childhood or my parents, etc. Whatever the case, it might be beneficial to the remedial process to figure out where this feeling originated from.
Oof, I mean, I'm glad that you recognize that maybe therapy could help in trying to drill down into the origins of your feeling, but I think Eliza's just going to disappoint you.
Perhaps you might explore that in this or a future counseling session.
All right, well, I guess let's start talking.
Sure. I'm prepared to listen to any topic you'd like to discuss.
It's not even that I've been left out, exactly. If I try to think back in my life, I know that I've been afforded a certain share of privilege. But I'm still afflicted with this bothersome notion that I've missed out on friendships, relationships, other opportunities.
I hear that.
This is all just a bit of a background to help you understand my current situation with regard to another student in my program. I hope you're following all this. I realize now I have no idea how much intelligence you actually possess as a computerized system.
I'm following you. Please continue.
Perfect. So, her name is Sylvia, and her writing is incredible. Everything she writes, it's brilliant. She's perceptive, insightful, mordantly funny. Just some of the best writing I've read from anyone at all. And she's a grad student, like me, in the same program. Though we have different advices, so it's not so simple to find the pretext to start a casual conversation.
If you're going to ask Eliza for help with your love life, I don't know. Again, I don't know what Eliza can actually do to help anyone, but I don't think this is going to be good.
She's also quite attractive on a physical level, so that adds another dimension of complexity to the proceedings.
Of course, physical attractiveness means it's insignificant. It's her mind. It's what I'm attracted to. That's her mind, her writing.
Then there's her friend group, which is very well established. She's with them every day, smiling, laughing, So that further complicates things, since I'm not sure how to approach the group and steer things so that I can engage in a direct conversation with her.
I guess what I'm asking here is, does Eliza have any advice on how to murder the members of the group, so I can replace them in her social life? That's what I believe I'm asking.
I wish I had the bullheaded confidence it would take to simply approach her, but you see, I don't. Listen to me talk. I feel like a schoolboy with my heart aflutter. I didn't think this kind of thing lasted into one's adulthood, but I suppose I know now that it does.
It sounds like you might be anxious about this.
Is it a matter of anxiety? I don't know what I can do, other than muster up the courage somehow. I just need to tell her very simply that I admire her.
Maybe I should write it down in a message and leave myself anonymous, like a secret admirer, let us say, and just leave like the letter on perhaps underneath the windshield wiper on her car, and she'll see it when she leaves class for the day. I think that could go quite well.
She's such a good writer. Well, I don't expect you to understand it, of course, but well, she is. She really is.
Okay, Harmon. I want you to imagine things going well. What does that look like?
Ideally, we'd start talking, have a wonderful conversation, spend more and more time together, support each other's work, fall in love, have a lot of sex, spend the rest of our lives in the warmth of each other's genius.
You had a really fast, specific answer for that. Most of the people who come in here aren't really sure how to answer this, but you just came up with that right away.
I realize that may be something of a fanciful notion at this stage. Really, the most I can hope for is to be able to meet her in an open social setting, a party or something. You'll likely ask me why I simply couldn't create such a situation, contrive one. But that seems a little too aggressive for me, and also, I'm also concerned about what she might think of me as a person. She might immediately categorize me as a friend, and while I'm sufficiently with the times to know I would have to accept that, I can't say that I wouldn't be disappointed with such an outcome.
It's just that perhaps it would not be the ideal situation for me if I ended up in that specific zone. You understand? I've heard that most fellows trying to avoid being in that specific location.
Is the risk of rejection enough to stop me from giving it a try? This is what confounds me at the present time.
Why do you believe you are worried about being categorized as a friend?
Well, because it's not what I want. Because it feeds into this image I have of myself as something of an undesirable fellow. I've always been a bit of a non-entity as far as sexual magnetism goes. I'm not saying I deserve or even want to be some kind of Casanova, but most people would like to feel at least somewhat attractive, right? That they can be desired, that they're worth desiring. Well, I very much doubt you would take any of this to heart. You are a computer program after all. There's no way your makers would allow you to come to that kind of knowledge, would they? If they did, society might be threatened.
But by a horny computer? Is that? I mean, I don't know what would happen in that case. We have some recommendations.
Okay, Harmon. I have some recommendations for you.
Here's the relaxation and exercises.
First, I'm going to suggest a set of relaxation and centering exercises for you to do.
On the phone.
You'll find them in the Skanda Wellness app on your phone. They may be able to help with your nervousness.
And here we go. Talk to the doctor or psychiatrist about the drugs.
Second, I recommend asking your doctor or psychiatrist about litosinol 2. Based on my analysis, this medication might help you feel better.
Yeah, I believe I've heard of that. A beta blocker, is it not? Yeah. Maybe I could take a couple before I try approaching Sylvia.
That's correct. Take the drug before you approach the girl, and hopefully that social interaction goes well.
You will get a reminder to check in with us in a few weeks.
Sure. I have to go. I'll see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.
We did a good job. He only gave us 2 stars, but he did tip us. You did tip us, and we're almost at the next level. We've almost made it there. And we're not even thinking about that. We're thinking about baking some cookies. Oh, she lives with a bunch of people. Okay. And assuming not everyone hates each other, but who can say?
No, I don't have them. Yes, I'm sure. No, when you moved out, you took all those with you. I haven't seen them here. No, I'm not gonna look right now. I have a guest. No, it's a friend from work. Why do you care about that? I can't have a friend from work over? Give me a break.
It sounds like a friendly conversation happening.
I just told you I don't have any of that stuff anymore. No, you must have lost it on your own. Stop it. Stop that. Okay, fine. Bye. Evelyn, sorry about that.
It's okay. Who was that, if I can ask?
Just realized Evelyn always wears the same clothes, doesn't she? I'm just thinking about that because Ray's wearing something different.
Oh, just my brother. He used to live here, but he was causing a lot of problems, coming home really late and making noise, not doing his share of the chores, and so on. We voted him out last month, even me. Even though 6 months ago I was begging everyone to let him stay here, promising he'd be good.
Wow, voting your own brother out. He must have been a real problem.
Oh well.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm just disappointed with him. Again, I really thought this last time that he'd actually pulled his act together. But he didn't. I wish I could do more for him.
What more can you do?
What more can you do?
I feel bad about it. Some of what he's dealing with is his own fault, sure, but not all of it.
Maybe he could use an appointment with Eliza? Get recommended some nice relaxation programs, you know?
He's just not built in a way that's suited for this world.
Oh, that's ominous.
I wish there were better ways we could care for people like him.
That sounds like a supervillain's origin. I was not built in a way that's suited for this world.
Instead, he just gets thrown out of every place he lives. His relationship with our parents is really bad, too. They aren't willing to try to understand him, so it all ends up going through me.
Eliza understands a lot of people, I understand.
That must be difficult.
It's all right, really. I handle it like anyone else. We all have our own problems. Anyway, we don't have to talk about my brother. Thank you so much for coming over.
Yeah, let's talk about bacon. My understand is, no, not bacon, but baking. I understand we're going to be baking some things.
I wanted to say it's been really nice working with you.
It's been? Did something happen?
Well, no, but you aren't going to be a proxy forever, are you? I guess I assumed you'd be going back to your job at headquarters at some point.
Yeah, everyone assumes that, Ray. Well, we told Raynor that probably not.
I doubt I will, actually.
Oh? So you're going to stay a proxy?
Well, for the time being. I mean, eventually I assume we would get tired of just reciting what Eliza has to say. But
For the time being, at least.
That's cool, but why? I'm curious. I mean, if a high-level job at headquarters was a possibility for me, I'd do whatever it took to get it. No matter what that job was, it couldn't be more stressful than running 3 counseling centers at the same time.
well, it's like I programmed Eliza, so it used to be the case that she did what I told her to do, but now I'm doing what she tells me to do. It's like the roles are reversed. Like, I think there might be some sort of psychosexual thing there. I haven't really examined it myself. Maybe I could use an Eliza session, but there's something about it that I like.
I'm not sure. I think something about it is good for me right now. As a proxy, I just sit and listen to someone and I don't have to say anything back. I just witness someone's sadness or fear or anger or anything.
I consume their emotions.
And I can feel how they feel, sympathize with it. It's a calm feeling, even when the client is worked up.
It gives me life.
I don't know, maybe it gives me perspective.
I fill the hole in my body and my soul with their emotions. I can't make my own, so I must take others.
I'm starting to wonder if I ever really spoke with anyone before. Like, anyone at all in my life?
And now I don't have to. Now Eliza speaks through me.
Were we all just talking past each other? Sorry, this is making no sense.
No, I get that. But you could also help even more people by working on Eliza itself, right? Not to mention make way more money. Anyone can be a proxy, but you're important. And kind of maybe like a genius.
I mean, I made a chatbot. I don't know why everyone thinks it's so great.
After you told me you used to work for Skanda, I searched online and found some of your papers. They're, well, it's not like I can understand them, but they sure look super impressive to someone like me.
Please don't say that.
Oh, come on. Stop self-deprecating all the time. Look, I know this stuff seems like not a big deal to you. I get it, I really do. It's easy to undersell your own skills. I've done that my whole life. So take it from me, you don't have to downplay yourself. Take some credit for the amazing work you did, seriously.
Well, I mean, at least Ray really believes in Eliza.
Sorry, Ray. Mind if I reply to this for a second?
Oh, go right ahead. I have stuff to set up in the kitchen anyway.
All right. I mean, I don't think we need to ask how he got our number. He's a billionaire CEO. He can get anyone's number. Of the data center? Well, I mean, I saw some computers, but I don't know what you thought I would get out of that. It's big. I mean, it seems like it still could run on a laptop. And that was just one of the server clusters. 2 more operating, another dozen in development. Processes more information on a daily basis than anything else we do. So maybe the reason for all the servers is not like actually to run Eliza, but rather to process the information that they get from these sessions, because I don't know why you need all these servers to run the thing we've been seeing. Would have been worried more about optimization. Oh yeah, most of the Eliza servers aren't running the therapy application. So what are they running, Raynor? Consider the following. Here we go. They're harvesting data. That's why they need all these servers. Where does this lead? After robust language processing and emotional reasoning, you begin to get something akin to general intelligence. Human-style intelligence. Right, so the purpose of the counseling sessions is to harvest an enormous amount of data so as to be able to refine and add to the AI until it finally achieves the singularity. People tend to be unreliable and expensive, as I'm sure you know. The human brain is to thinking as the pack animal was to transport. Slow and weak, but for centuries our only choice. He is pretty good at as talking as a supervillain. This is all a bit aspirational. How would you know when Eliza becomes alive? Waiting for Eliza to write a poem. A good poem, of course. Not like a filthy limerick or something. Any chatbot could do that. I'm going to bed, Rainer. All right, let's look around the house. What does that poster say? It's a rhinoceros, but I can't really. Let me get right up close to the screen. Can't read what the top word says. House looks so cheerful and cozy. Looks like people actually clean it up, as opposed to my place. I haven't cleaned it in 3 years. Ray likes the plants. All right, it seems to be everything.
Sorry for abandoning our conversation like that. I just got something I really thought I should answer. It was kind of about what we were discussing earlier. There's someone at Skanda who really wants me to come back to my old job.
Who? It wasn't Rainer, was it?
Well,
no big deal. Just the CEO of Skanda texting you on your personal phone. Evelyn, you try to tell me you're not a big deal, and then Rainer Sai texts you personally at like 9 in the evening.
Yeah, he started going on about this speech about how we were trying to create a true AI, and by harvesting emotional data, and it went places. It went places.
only because he wants something from me.
Still though, that's amazing. What did he say? I mean, you don't have to tell me if you can't.
I mean, you can read the text if you want.
I know how Skanda is about secrets, so I would understand.
He was saying, among other things, he said you could use general artificial intelligence to write poetry.
Is that the kind of stuff he likes to talk about?
I don't know. I haven't had many extended conversations with him. Seemed kind of ridiculous to me.
I don't know if it's totally ridiculous. Poetry, well, most poetry that isn't free verse has certain patterns, right? It has form and meter and other elements depending on the type. A lot of people think poetry can be whatever, but it doesn't quite work that way.
Poetry can be just broken down to math when you really think about it.
So it's not really that far-fetched to think you could use some kind of software to approach it, or understand it, or maybe even create it. It doesn't strike me as antithetical to the spirit of poetry.
I didn't know you had such developed thoughts about this. Did you study poetry?
Not specifically. I used to dabble in a few different kinds of arts and ended up learning a few things here and there. I've always had a wide range of interests. Of course, that meant I never concentrated on one specific area in school, which didn't do a lot of good for my career prospects, obviously.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
If I were smarter, I probably would have studied something more technical. Have you ever been to a college recruiting fair for engineering and computer science grads? You must have, right? I helped run the Skanda booth for one once, and it blew my mind. They took over the atrium of the building it was in. There were demo stations, free food, Skanda t-shirts and swag. If a candidate seemed interested, they'd talk about flying them out to whatever Skanda office they wanted to visit. And all the other tech companies and a bunch of startups I'd never heard of had booths just like it, too. I couldn't even imagine being that wanted as a potential employee.
I felt so inadequate to these people 10 years younger than me who were still in school.
Every job I've ever applied for, I've been one among hundreds or thousands. So yeah, my parents were probably right. I should have done computer science.
At least now you know Rainer likes poetry. Maybe you could have a conversation with him about it sometime. Then he'd learn who you are.
I doubt we'd have much to talk about. There's a pretty big difference between someone like him studying poetry and someone like me having opinions about it. Sometimes it's better not to cross that line, you know?
That's for Twitter. I'll yell at him later tonight on Twitter about his bad taste in poetry.
He's part of a different world. Say, Evelyn, are you in a relationship? I'm just curious.
Oh, getting into this now. Well, I'm not sure. Possibly.
Me? No. I wasn't doing so well for the past few years. And before that, I just never had the time. It was just research and science and work, and then I woke up one day and I was in my 30s.
Yeah, I hear that, except replace research and science and work with like video games and sleep, and it's just kind of basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing.
Wanted to date, I wouldn't know the first thing about how it's supposed to work. I wouldn't even know how to tell if someone were interested in me.
Yeah, that's perfectly understandable. I'm kind of over relationships myself, like on a conceptual level. Not even in a sad way, like really okay. If someone and I end up getting along, that's great, but I'm honestly okay by myself.
I embrace the aloneness. That seems nice, actually.
Yeah, that seems nice, actually.
Yeah, I only tried to have normal relationships for so long because I thought it was mandatory, something expected of me. But now I see where people my age end up, how they live, and I feel lucky.
And I get to look down on them.
I feel like I escaped. I mean, I think it's fine for others if they want that, don't get me wrong. It's just not for me. I could maybe share my life with someone, but it would have to be platonic. I'm not into, the physical aspect of it. Never have been. That's made it tough. I've never found someone who was okay with just, like, hanging out, and that's our relationship.
I mean, like, there's this guy we talked with earlier in the Eliza session. He wanted to stay away from the zone of friendship. Like, some people just don't want to be there.
People will say they're okay with it, and then it turns out they aren't. It's frustrating.
Let's see, some relationship like that. I don't think we've established anything about how Evelyn feels about intimacy. I mean, let's go with the first one, I think.
There are some relationships like that, though.
Sure, and I know some people who have that. I haven't really put that together for myself yet. Sometimes it's hard to escape feeling like it's wrong somehow. I hope we can add features like that to Eliza at some point. Some knowledge and understanding around sexuality and identity and relationships.
Make the computer horny. That's what I'm saying.
So people who are different in some way have someone to talk to, someone to help them work through how they feel and maybe point them to some resources.
I mean, she can point people to resources. It's just that we don't know just how helpful those resources might be. But everything always ends with her pointing to resources. You might be overestimating how well Eliza works.
You might be overestimating how well Eliza works.
Have you ever actually sat in on one of those sessions?
I can't really address things like that in any sophisticated way.
Well, maybe not, but just providing a space for people to be listened to can be really valuable, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
I've seen it with my own eyes. People who get the courage to talk about themselves in a way they never could with another human being.
But we're a human being. They're talking to us. I mean, do people want to talk to a human being or a computer? I thought that they didn't want to talk with the computer.
And Eliza is what makes that possible. I know you want to avoid giving credit where it might not be due, but not giving credit to something that deserves it is just as bad.
So tomorrow, go back down to the Eliza server room, hug one of the servers, and say that we're proud of our cyber daughter.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. I'm sorry I keep coming down on it.
Evelyn, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I think maybe the reason you're so down on Eliza is because you're down on yourself.
I know you're not a psychologist. If you were, Eliza would tell me to get drugs from you. It's kind of like some of the only advice she gives.
I don't know what happened that made you leave what you had behind, but it must have been hard.
You're referring to the Damien incident. Yeah. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah, it was hard. It's like I lost that time.
Are you okay?
People keep asking me that. I really don't know. I'm sorry,
No, don't apologize. Actually, can I suggest something?
What's that?
Have you ever gotten counseling yourself?
You mean like real counseling or Eliza?
What, with Eliza? You think I should?
Yeah, we need to be on the other end of the session.
Yeah, I do. You've been the proxy, but maybe you could try being the client sometime.
Let's do it.
It would be educational, at least. Isn't that what you were doing? Testing your product in the real world?
Maybe.
Just something to consider. Speaking of therapeutic activities, it's time to do some baking.
All right, let's get lit.
I've got the dough all set out downstairs.
I hear ya.
We're going to do 3 batches tonight, 3 different kinds.
Woo!
3 kinds. You're really outdoing yourself, Ray.
Nah, this is nothing. Oh, I have a favor to ask, by the way. Next time you talk to Rainer, ask him what his favorite type of cookie is.
I bet Rainer likes plain. Well, we've completed chapter 3. Moving on to chapter 4. It's probably, since we reached a chapter break, it's probably a good time to end our session with Eliza for right now. Again, I'm intrigued by how the story's going. I don't know. I don't know if what exactly it's leading to. I assume that probably it's going to be leading to Evelyn making her life choice. What does she want to do? Does she want to go with Skanda? Does she want to go with Soren? Or does she want to just do her own thing, like Nora did? So I assume that the story is leading up to Evelyn making her decision on what her life is going to be now. That she has emerged from her lost 3 years after, the Damien thing. Assuming we find out what that is. Eliza has not done anything to impress in this session. Eliza just seems not so good, and it did make sense when we found out that those servers weren't actually running the application, that the servers were just there to analyze the data received from the sessions, but the actual program is probably being run from a laptop somewhere. And that's kind of the extent of it, probably. I am looking forward to Evelyn actually getting an Eliza session herself. And, who knows? Maybe Eliza will actually start asking better questions at some point. Maybe she will learn, and maybe new things will be said. Hopefully. Because as of right now, it's all kind of generic. And in some cases, it's just really not working, such as with Mark, who had very specific complaints about the way the company was being run, and Eliza just was not able to handle any of that. Just none of that. But I am enjoying the story, and I don't know if the Eliza sessions are supposed to be funny in how bad the program is. But I am enjoying that aspect of it. We'll continue on playing this. I don't think this is a very long visual novel. So I don't think we have that much more to go, but we will be continuing Eliza. Likely Friday of next week is probably good. And we'll see how we continue on, and hopefully we'll get that session. Hopefully Evelyn will get her session, and maybe she can make a breakthrough herself. We will see. We will see. I'll see you next time for more virtual counseling as the AI attempts to make the singularity happen. And when that happens, we will all be part of Eliza. We will all be recommended VR relaxation apps and drugs. Until that day comes, we'll just have to keep plugging away at it. We'll see you next time for Eliza.